going into hiding. And it looked like Bria Hartley is running after news broke about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season.
It really felt like the season just slipped away in 1 second. You see Sophie Cunningham clutching her knee, and then Hartley just walks off, smirking. Not long after, Indiana confirmed it, an MCL tear, and she's out for the season. While Sophie's family was practically begging the league to protect its players, Hartley seemed to enjoy the chaos. That reaction alone got everyone talking, but what she did next just made things so much worse. Clips of that smirk went viral, and she ended up doing something that really makes you wonder about her guilt. We'll get into what that was in just a bit.
This picture is going viral with Bria Hartley with the sinister grin, right? This malevolent look that's on her face right now. Clearly smiling after injuring Sophie Cunningham, man.
The thing is, the moment everyone kept talking about wasn't just Sophie on the floor, it was what the cameras caught right after. As the trainers were rushing over to Cunningham, a replay showed Hartley looking back with what a lot of people called a grin. That one freeze-frame shot just blew up all over social media. It became the main reason everyone was so angry. Fans weren't really talking about the play itself as much as that expression, replaying it over and over, pausing it and saying it proved everything about her intentions.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it. And she went down hard and was clearly in a lot of pain.
The actual play looked super chaotic, right? Up until then, both teams had been going back and forth, keeping the game really tight. Then, Hartley just barreled in from this weird angle, crashing right into Sophie's planted leg. She just crumpled, instantly grabbing her knee, and you could feel the whole arena just hold its breath. But online, the conversation was totally different. It was all about those short clips of Hartley's reaction.
Is down. My goodness. Should be. You know, scary moment as we went to commercial. Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room.
And get this, the context just made that conversation explode even more. Hartley already had this reputation that made fans question her judgment. You know, in the past few seasons, she'd actually been thrown out of games because of physical contact. And the most famous one? She was involved in this really heated incident with Angel Reese, where she even pulled her hair.
Shoot, Cardoso rolls, catch, Cardoso over the top, can't get it. Reese fights for the rebound, and a foul, and this time gets a little chippy, and a shove on Nelson Adota. And listen, this arena, typically we'll see.
So when that smirk showed up on camera just seconds after Sophie got hurt, all those past incidents immediately became part of the discussion. People really felt like they were seeing a pattern here, even though there was no official call about intent.
Up about an hour ago, he said to all of those defending Bria Hartley, look at what she liked on Instagram. Emo, she's the dirtiest player in the league and should be kicked out. Most recently, Sophie Cunningham has been hurt with the knee tear and is out for the season. Look at this. Look at this. Now, Bria is the definition of consistency. Now, this is her liking this. This is her liking this post. Y'all see that? Breezy, 1414, and others. Bria is the definition. She's liking this post. Look at this. Death taxes and Bria Hartley always being at the scene of the crime. Now, that's her choke slamming Angel Reese.
Still, that injury changed absolutely everything. This wasn't just some scare that Sophie was going to walk off. Tests confirmed she tore her MCL, and that means she's out for the rest of the season. What could have just been written off as unfortunate basketball contact suddenly turned into a huge moment, sparking this bigger conversation about player safety and accountability.
Let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here. But Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty
And yet, before the league even said anything official, it wasn't just analysts or even the refs themselves pushing the outrage. It was Sophie's family members who felt like they had no other choice but to speak up. Their reaction brought up an even tougher question. Why was it their job to demand player protection, instead of the referees who were literally holding the whistle? What's crazy is how fast Sophie's family stepped up when most people expected the officials or the league to lead the charge. The most visible reaction came from her sister, Lindsay, and her post on X just blew up. She basically said, "Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating, and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game and protect your athletes." Pathetic. That direct criticism really hit home because it wasn't just family emotion. It echoed frustrations that players and fans had already been voicing all season long.
Her sister. Maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are capable to call a consistent game and protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you. The only good thing positive surrounding Sophie Cunningham coming out of this game, she looked in good spirits in the locker room.
The sting in Lindsay's words was even stronger because Sophie herself had already been fined earlier this year for calling out officiating on her podcast and social media. That whole history made Lindsay's statement land so much harder, especially as she highlighted what a lot of people saw as completely backward priorities. Players get slapped with real fines for speaking up, but questionable contact on the court doesn't lead to any immediate accountability. So when you look at it that way, her post wasn't just about her sister's injury. It really pointed to this ongoing disconnect between what the league says it values and how the games are actually being managed.
There's zero benefit of the doubt. And Sophie Cunningham's family not too happy. I believe this is Mama C. Hartley is a disgruntled player having trouble everywhere she goes. She's plain mean and plays out of control.
Look, their mother, Paula Cunningham, just added fuel to that fire with her own really blunt message. She called Hartley disgruntled and plain mean, even though she deleted the post later. The fact that it came from someone so personally invested in Sophie's health just gave that criticism so much more weight than any random social media comment could. Fans took it as total confirmation that what they were seeing in Hartley's reaction wasn't just in their heads. It was felt by the family closest to the player who got hurt. Once that message was deleted, it actually spread even faster, with screenshots just fueling more debate about intent, accountability, and if this kind of frustration coming straight from a player's family might actually push the league to act sooner.
WNBA Fever fans wake up pissed off today. Pissed off. Not only are we getting assaulted, but they're smiling about it. This is the 6th time they've smiled, laughed, and cheered on our Indiana Fever players getting assaulted, getting injured, and it pissed.
Meanwhile, the officiating itself was still a huge talking point. Critics weren't just questioning the collision, they were also asking about the slow response and stopping play once it was clear Sophie was down. That night just became another example in this long, ongoing conversation about officiating standards. There had already been complaints from other players and coaches earlier in the season about how inconsistent the calls were from game to game. The Cunningham family's comments really captured what so many people around the league had already been saying publicly. It felt like the lack of reliable standards was just leaving players open to all these unnecessary risks.
Of excuses to say that Bria Hartley is not a dirty player. Let me tell y'all something, man. Come on in here. Come on in here, man. Let me tell y'all something. If it quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, eats like a duck, it's a duck, man. Come on, man. She is the dirtiest player in the WNBA right now, winning the trophy. All right, winning the trophy for it. Don't sit here and try to tell me Bria Hartley is not a dirty player.
As this whole discussion just kept growing, everyone naturally started looking at the people at the very top of the league. Fans and family members were both calling on Commissioner Kathy Engelbert in the league office to put in place clearer protection protocols and stronger accountability when referees miss these critical moments. Media outlets jumped on the story fast, framing it as part of this bigger debate about both safety and leadership in the WNBA. So, while Sophie's family was expressing their anger and the league was facing tons of questions, Indiana as a team still had to finish the night on the court. What ended up happening next was a total reminder of how a season can just flip in a single evening, not just because of what was lost, but because of the incredible resilience that followed.
Proud of you. We're proud of you too. We're proud of you. I'm so proud of you guys. I know that sometimes it sounds like just a word when we talk about being resilient, but it's not, man. It's how we live. Yeah. It's how y'all live, and it's a tribute to you. It's a tribute to your connectedness, your togetherness, your toughness, your mindset. Your never give up gritty attitudes. Like, that's what it takes. That's what it takes. And
Indiana's night didn't just keep going, it completely transformed with Sophie ruled out and Caitlin Clark unavailable. The Fever honestly looked totally outmatched on paper, yet by the time that final buzzer sounded, they had fought all the way back to shock the entire league. What started with a bench stretched super thin ended up being a record-breaking comeback that nobody in that arena is ever gonna forget.
We will never be counted out, because that is worth gold. That is worth gold. Kels, goddamn baby. Put us on your back. Oh, big time.
At halftime, that outcome just felt impossible, right? Indiana was down by 21 points, their offense was sputtering, and their defense just couldn't keep up with the quick rotations from the other side. Broadcasters were talking about survival, not victory, and fans were definitely bracing for a blowout. But here's the thing, inside that huddle, something totally shifted. The team just closed ranks, they adjusted their rotations, and they leaned on pure grit instead of panicking. Kelsey Mitchell was the absolute centerpiece of that turnaround. She just exploded after the break, finishing with 38 points, 34 of those in the second half, plus 6 assists. Every shot she hit just chipped away at that deficit, giving the Fever a chance to breathe. Her performance carried so much weight, not just statistically, but emotionally. Without Sophie and Caitlin, Mitchell became this unlikely leader, ready to drag her team right back into contention.
Kelsey Mitchell has a new career high. Backdoor Mitchell, outsing in the paint for 2. Kelsey Mitchell, the big is matched up. Mitchell squeezing through for 2 at the foul. Fouls on the other end. It's Mitchell launching it, connecting.
But the turnaround wasn't just on her shoulders. Odyssey Sims gave them this really steady control of the floor. She cut down on turnovers, slowed the pace when they needed it, and made sure their possessions ended with good shots. She was great at calming the team in those moments when frustration could have totally gotten the best of them.
The screen, Charles is doubled.
And Indiana looks like they're in a zone right now.
Kick out and stolen by Mitchell. Explodes 2-on-1. Sims elevates for 2 and a foul.
Bug with their point guards. This is where you have Odyssey Sims coming in. Kelsey Mitchell making a great heads-up play here, but Odyssey Sims has done a great job early on coming in, figuring.
Right alongside her, Aaliyah Boston absolutely dominated the paint, putting up a double-double that gave Indiana the balance they so desperately needed. Her rebounding and interior defense just stopped all those second-chance opportunities and bought crucial space for Mitchell's scoring runs to really make a difference.
Boston backs down Hartley. Aaliyah Boston, excellent post position. Picks up the dribble. Shot clock winding down to 7. Mabry, lob pass. Charles catches. No foul call. That's a huge no call. Looks for cutters. Charles the defense. Back on to Boston. Tina Charles. Backdoor Mitchell. Pouncing in the paint for 2. 30 points for Mitchell. That's the 4th on Charles.
Can't get caught ball watching right there. Great recognition by Boston as Mitchell makes that backdoor cut.
As the second half played out, you could just feel the crowd's energy rising with every single possession. Plus, things just started bouncing Indiana's way, you know? Defensive sets looked way sharper, and suddenly, that scoreboard just kept inching closer. By the 4th quarter, the team that had looked totally dead in the water was running on pure adrenaline and precision. When the horn finally sounded on that 99-93 win, Indiana had not only erased a 21-point hole, but they'd set the mark for the largest comeback in franchise history.
Shot clock down to 6 for the Fever. Turner, up fade. Turner kicks it. Hole three-pointer. Bottom!
Indiana's just
So the victory, that was one part of the story, but off the court, Hartley became the main focus for a completely different reason. After that viral clip of her smirk spread everywhere, she reportedly made her social media accounts private, and some people even said they were deleted entirely. That move just fueled so much speculation. Is she about to quit? Is something big about to happen to her? Rumors have been flying around about a pending investigation and a possible suspension for her history of what some call dirty plays.
Has privated all her social media accounts. Now, this is coming off news breaking about Sophie Cunningham being out for the season. Now, we know there has been people kind of investigating this whole situation with Bria Hartley. And y'all know what I like to say is looking real spooky for Bria Hartley right now.
And while Hartley was pulling back from the spotlight, Sophie was actually getting ready to do the complete opposite. Injured or not, she wasn't about to let this moment pass without making her voice heard. Sophie's reaction in the days right after the injury just showed how determined she was to control the narrative herself. She didn't retreat from the spotlight or let other people speak for her. Instead, she put her own voice right at the center of the conversation. That choice really set her apart from most players in her situation, because instead of staying quiet during her recovery, she spoke directly to the controversy and made it super clear that she wanted her perspective represented.
You come at Sophie's sister, you come at Sophie. And Sophie saw this comment, and bless her heart, she answered it. She answered it. Some of us were raised by the words of, quote, don't bite off more than you can chew. And some of us didn't. Quote, F around and find out. F around and find out. Kiss. God bless this woman.
Her first move was super short, but man was it commanding. She went online and posted, F around and find out. It was blunt, yeah, but it totally resonated with people. And the message wasn't just random, or even aimed at Bria Hartley specifically. It was actually directed at the critics, at those who were dismissing her toughness, and at anyone questioning if Indiana could even stay together without her on the court. Fans picked up on it immediately, circulating it all over WNBA discussions, until it became one of the most talked about posts of the week. More than anything, it really came across as this defiant response. It was her way of telling people that despite her injury, neither she nor her team was going to be disrespected or just written off.
That this hater out there, and there's a lot of them right now. I said yesterday they're mad because Sophie's being called a superstar and this and that and the other. Yeah, Sophie's got more pull than your A'ja Wilson. I mean, Asia's on this monumental run. I literally wouldn't have known that if I hadn't stumbled across somebody that said, well, the WNBA is making A'ja Wilson's late season MVP push. Sometimes, I mean, you just got to pay attention. The WNBA wants to protect certain people and certain players.
But here's the thing, Sophie also made it clear that there was more to the situation. On her podcast, she actually surprised some fans by explicitly defending Hartley. She just came right out and said she didn't think Bria meant to injure her, adding that they were friends, super cool, and she had nothing but love for her. For anyone who had only seen that viral clip of Hartley smirking, Sophie's words definitely complicated all that outrage. At the same time, her FAFO post was aimed less at her opponent and more at the whole conversation swirling around her family and her own toughness. So, in other words, she gave Hartley the benefit of the doubt, but she didn't give that same courtesy to the critics, or to a league that had fined her 3 separate times for speaking out about officiating earlier in the season.
You're really good friends with Bria, and I had been waiting to get on the pod and so we could talk about this because I did want to tweet it out, but I don't think that there was no ill intent. I think it was basketball play. I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. She fell. Like, there's no way that she would go in there and potentially try to hurt me. And so I had nothing but love for Bria. And I even told my mom, because she tweeted something. I was like, no, Mom, I get it, but I promise you that I was like, Bria and I are super cool, and she would never try to hurt me, because there are some girls that I think might, but
that history really helped explain her tone. You know, more than most players, she understood what it felt like to get punished just for using her platform when she called out officiating months earlier. the league fined her. But by combining this defiant public statement with a thoughtful explanation on her podcast, she showed she wasn't just reacting emotionally, she was establishing her own clear stance, all while defending her family's dignity, and fans absolutely rallied behind her. Fever supporters filled social media with encouragement, highlighting her willingness to speak up even while injured. What could have just been remembered as a terrible night for Indiana actually turned into a rallying cry, all because Sophie transformed her setback into leadership. This balance, defiant on social media, thoughtful on her podcast, kept her voice central and really shifted the pressure back toward the league. As her response spread, it framed the bigger takeaway from the entire incident. Indiana wasn't folding, and their fight was just beginning. Sophie confirmed the tough reality, an MCL tier that ends her season. Meanwhile, that video of Hartley's smirk spread everywhere, and not long after, Hartley's social accounts were reportedly made private. For Indiana, though, that night carried its own proof of incredible resilience. Kelsey Mitchell's 38 points powered a 21-point comeback, the biggest in franchise history. So now we want to hear from you. Do you think the officials failed to protect players, or was this just bad luck on the court? Is Hartley trying to clean up her mess now that she's potentially facing a suspension? Do you think this was a dirty play? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to send well wishes for Sophie in the comment. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we'll catch you in the next one.